Ghana and the other countries in the Sahel states. Na enomo en Agabi Ochredako ababe kasa ediafa eniema bi a ekoso ehu no chese just like the United States. Yen hwese the states ni nyina ababe bomu asese omaye oman baako ura USA. There are lots of states first nena nkasebe they all had to come together to form the United States of America. Neyehu adenti ena ebibi my African so yen nyina yentimi nka ye humbo. And I remember yesterday in one of the updates ye kan ho asem about the fact say beye kranka Ghana yemfie kowasim because ade ba akokoma okura ne ye common currency for all the African states for about 30 years now entimi mbemu ena gabioche da akonso ababesi subiem say it is high time ebibi my heads of state nyina eye omadwene baako na yetimi eka ye hubom ne ye one state na bibia ekoso na face movement ni ade no sebe so borders ne etutrasem ne attacks ahodo terrorist attacks ni nyina ebeba ewieye. Now this is in line with what the president said at the AU summit, but before no yenkotie nsem a Gabi Ochredako kan ye ba we'll go back to the president nsem a wode etudwa.
Our problem is the freedom to move. Okay, look, in Europe, in America, they are adding more layers to their walls to stop us from coming in. Yet, we are stuck to the Berlin walls that were created at the Berlin Convention of Conference of 1884-85. We are still stuck by those walls, which were not built for our benefit. They were built for the exploitation of our wealth, for their prosperity, not our prosperity. And we still protect them, as if we didn't have kingdoms and we didn't have thousands of city-states before that. We're able to let go to create 55 states or so that we have now. What is stopping us from bringing those 55 states together so we can move freely? That's what's
that is Gabi Ochredako and watchum say a dear pa ena AC a kwan say a year amai eduonum enum 55 states in ebe kaye one bomunia bako and the United States of Africa. Kanya bad any na ya USA neno ubo USA either so be chirem foreign USA na local USA because foreign USA na America no ne ka USA na local USA no abeye Africa. But then it is high time the heads of state ebeya adwene na yetimi aye bibisa aboya nkasa yeho ban na said the medical kan it has some correlation with the speech President Mahama emaye at the AU summit in Ethiopia Addis Ababa yenje enunso emra.
The distinguished representatives of AU member states and regional economic communities, officials of UNESCO and the African Union Commission, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I appear before you here today not only as President of the Republic of Ghana and AU champion on reparations, but as an African, one among over 1 billion people whose collective identity still bears the enduring imprints of historical injustice. I speak conscious of the weight of our continent's unfinished struggle for justice and equally conscious of the extraordinary moment in which we are, a moment pregnant with possibilities for historic redress. Our gathering here in Addis under the theme Reparations, Memory and Sovereignty is not routine diplomacy, it's a solemn moral convocation. It's an affirmation that Africa's past is neither forgotten nor buried beneath centuries of distortion. It lives in our collective memory. It breathes in our cultural expression. It echoes in our demand for dignity. For too long, the story of Africa was told through foreign lenses. Our sacred objects, our royal regalia, our ancestral artifacts, our ceremonial relics were not merely removed. They were violently severed from the spiritual, intellectual, and civilizational ecosystems that gave them meaning. These artifacts were displayed behind glass showcases in distant capitals. They became aesthetic curiosities stripped of context, detached from community, and divorced from their original identity. Today we declare with clarity, restitution is not about art and sculpture alone. It's about justice. It's about sovereignty. It is about restoring memory without distortion and reclaiming Africa's rightful voice in the history of the world. We cannot speak of development without identity. We cannot speak of unity without acknowledging historical erasure. The great Pan-Africanist Marcus Garvey reminded us. He said, a people without the knowledge of their history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Restitution, therefore, is not symbolic. It is civilizational repair. It is the healing of deep historical wounds. It is the restoration of agency. It is Africa narrating her own story on African terms. This high-level panel takes place within the broader framework of the African Union's 2025, whose theme of the year, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent Through Reparations. It also marks the commencement of the decade of reparations declared by the AU. This is not ceremonial language. It is a call for structural reform. Reparative justice must be holistic, and it must encompass the following: 1, cultural restitution; 2, economic redress; 3, political empowerment; and 4, psychological healing. These are not separate tracks. They are interconnected pillars of sovereignty. The 2023 Common African Position on the Restitution of Heritage Resources is not merely a policy instrument. It's an ethical compass. It asserts that restitution is grounded in international law and human rights, and in the recognition that the enduring architecture of colonial inequity must give way to a more just global order. Madam Deputy Chairperson, we acknowledge and appreciate UNESCO's partnership in advancing this agenda. Cultural heritage is not static. It connects past identity with future possibilities. If global cultural governance is to retain legitimacy, it must rest upon equity, inclusion, and redress. Together, we must design new instruments, agreements, and institutions rooted in mutual respect and full African agency. Restitution mechanisms must be restorative and not extractive. They must empower African museums, universities, archives, and our research centers to interpret and preserve our heritage on our own terms. Africa's demographic dynamism, our youth, must stand at the heart of this movement. Our young people should not experience their heritage as something that is located behind foreign glass showcases. They must encounter our heritage in their communities, in their classrooms, in their museums, in our festivals, and in our digital spaces. Let technology bridge time and geography.